All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all so much for waiting for us to get started. I really appreciate your patience. I do want to get started now. It's 2 minutes after 6 o'clock. Other folks that are going to join us will just trickle in and they'll be able to get caught up wherever we are. But I really appreciate you all for making some time to join me this afternoon to learn about a special opportunity that the College Fund has to offer for American Indian students in the state of California. Before we go any further, I want to introduce myself. My name is Juan Ruiz, and I serve as the Scholarships Manager here at the American Indian College Fund. The College Fund is one of the nation's oldest and largest scholarship providers for American Indian and Alaska Native students. And I'm excited to get to connect with you this afternoon to tell you about a special scholarship opportunity that we have for enrolled tribal members of a federal or state recognized tribe in the state of California. So we're going to get started here. We're going to dive into the presentation now. If you are joining me in the Zoom here just now, I also want to give you a heads up that along the presentation, if you have any questions about the material that I'll be sharing, you can drop your questions in the chat. And my colleague Kaylin Flowers is also online, and she'll be answering your questions via the chat. At the end of the presentation, there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions via Mentimeter. It's an application that we use where your questions will be displayed here on my Zoom screen that I'm sharing. And I'll be able to address those questions, but I won't be able to do that until the very end. So as we're going along the presentation, Kaylin's going to be fielding your questions via the chat. So if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat. And along my content today, I'll be sharing some links. I'll be referencing some links that Kaylin's going to drop in the chat. So be paying attention to the things that happen over on the chat because we'll be dropping links and folks are going to be asking questions. So there will be quite a bit of engagement happening in the chat. So be sure that you have that pulled up and you pay attention to it. All right. So with that said, once again, thank you all so much for being here. I know it's 5 o'clock in California time, and I want to get everyone wrapped up by 6 p.m. so that I can send you all off to dinner. So again, thank you for being here, and let's get started. So we have a special opportunity for the students in the state of California that are enrolled tribal members of one of the eligible tribes, which we'll cover in just a minute. But this is a special scholarship opportunity for the upcoming academic year, for the fall 23 and the spring 24. Our application is currently open, and the deadline to apply is May 31st. Kaylin's going to be dropping a link to our scholarship page, our general scholarship page, where you can find more information about the application process. So please do take the time to read over the eligibility criteria. We have a short video on our webpage that walks you through the application experience. So please take some time to review that before you engage with the application so you understand how to navigate the portal. Today's presentation is centered around a special opportunity for students in the state of California called the Wishal Future Leaders Scholarship. And the College Fund, being one of the largest scholarship providers in the country for American Indian students, we have many different scholarship opportunities. This is just one of the many that we manage. But this one's really special because it awards students along different points in their academic career, different degree tracks that they may be pursuing, and it also offers some really strong financial support. So I'm going to be diving into those details here really shortly, but the presentation today concentrates on the Wishal opportunity, but I'll be talking about other opportunities here toward the end of the presentation today. So before I get started, I'd love for all of you to head to Mentimeter, and I might have skipped this part at the beginning where we had the instructions to dive into Mentimeter. Let's see here, did I skip over that? Yes, here we go. So if you can please go on your browser for me really quick and go to www.mentimeter.com and use this code on the screen to log on to the page so you can engage with me on that slide that I'll be going to in just a second. That code is 6809-6840. So again, take a second and open up a new tab on your browser and go to menti.com, and use the code 6809-6840. So I want to hear some feedback and some engagement from you guys. All right, we're going to move on to that slide, but once again, go to menti.com and the code is 6809-6840. And let's go back to that slide where I can take your feedback. All right, here we go. All right, so I'd love for all of you in Menti, if you can please give me your feedback and let me know what kind of degree types do you think you can get scholarship funding from the College Fund. Should you be pursuing a vocational degree? Should you be pursuing an undergraduate degree or a graduate degree? So take a second on Mentimeter and let me know what you think. Yeah, all right, undergraduate and graduate, good responses, lots of undergraduate students. All right, no vocationals, that's interesting. Okay. So the College Fund offers scholarships for students seeking all kinds of degrees, ranging from vocational, which includes certificate programs, undergraduate degrees, which may include associate degrees or bachelor degrees, as well as graduate degrees, which may include masters or PhDs, advanced degrees, right? So even though nobody voted for vocational, we do offer opportunities for vocational degrees. If you are going to a not-for-profit accredited institution to pursue a vocational degree, maybe you want to become a plumber or you want to become a pipe welder or something like that. Those are fulfilling careers, and those students also need financial support. So we do have scholarship for students pursuing vocational degrees and certificate programs. Of course, we offer scholarship programs for undergraduate students, and we also support graduate students. So we offer opportunities for students pursuing all kinds of degrees. We also offer scholarship opportunities for students pursuing all majors, whether you're STEM or English or humanities, math, art, whatever your major is. We have scholarship programs that fund all majors. Okay, so regardless of your major, if you're going to be an enrolled student in the upcoming fall 2023 and the spring 2024 semester, I would love for you to check out our webpage, our general webpage. Helen's going to drop a link for that on the link. Please read over the eligibility criteria and submit an application by May 31st if you are eligible. Okay, I'm going to dive into more details here soon. Let's move on to the next piece. So the Wish Out opportunity in California is very, very special because it awards up to $20,000 per year to students seeking vocational and undergraduate degrees. The Wish Out opportunity is very unique. And when you go on to complete our application, you just have to indicate which tribe you are eligible or you are enrolled with in the state of California. And you can either be an enrolled member or a descendant. But if you are an enrolled member of one of the eligible tribes, which we'll highlight in just a second, you may be eligible to receive up to $20,000 per year if you are pursuing a vocational degree or an undergraduate degree. If you're not pursuing neither of those two, we may be able to offer you a different scholarship opportunity, but it may not be Wish All, so the amount may be a little different. But as long as you're pursuing one of those two opportunities at a not-for-profit accredited university in the fall semester here coming up, you may be eligible for one of those $20,000 opportunities. All right, so here's a second opportunity for you to give me your engagement or your feedback on what you know about the College Fund. So I'd love for you to go to menti.com and again, use that code 60, it's a different code this time, or no, it's the same code. It is the same code, my apologies for that. So go to menti.com and use the code 6809-6840. And let me know, what do you think you must be, what do you need to prove to be eligible for our scholarships? What do you need to, what criteria do you need to meet to be eligible? So being an enrolled tribal member is a requirement for the WISHAL opportunity, but if you're not an enrolled member in one of the tribes that are eligible for the WISHAL opportunity, you may be eligible for a different opportunity that we offer if you are a descendant, a direct descendant of an enrolled member. So let's say that you are not an enrolled member, but your parent is of a federally or a state recognized tribe. When you go on to submit your application, you can submit documentation that proves that you are a descendant, and you are then eligible for our scholarship programs if you are a direct descendant of somebody who is enrolled in a federally or a state recognized tribe. A minimum GPA of 3.0 is also a misconception of scholarship eligibility at the College Fund and really across scholarship providers in general. Most people think that to be awarded or to be eligible for a scholarship, they need to be a track star and they need to be involved in all the clubs and the sports at their high school, and they need to have a 4.0 GPA and just be an outstanding student in general. And while if you're one of those students, well, that's great. And I commend you for being super engaged and academically successful. But you know, there are many more students that are balancing other things in their life, right? Many students are involved in clubs and activities, other extracurriculars. Some folks are taking care of family and they're going to work. So being the perfect student, quote unquote, is not a requirement to be eligible for a scholarship. You do have to have a minimum GPA of at least 2.0. So that is a minimum requirement, but that is much lower than a 3.0 requirement that most people think that they need to have to be eligible for a scholarship. And students don't need to necessarily attend a tribal college to be eligible for one of the scholarships that the College Fund offers. As long as you are going to a not-for-profit accredited institution, you would be eligible for one of our scholarships, as long as you meet the other criteria, of course. But again, you can see all of that criteria if you go to our general website, collegefund.org/scholarships. I believe Kevin has already dropped that link in chat if you want to scroll back up and revise it or look at it. But yes, as long as you're going to a not-for-profit accredited school, it could be private or it could be a public school, community college is valid, a 4-year public or private institution is also valid. So thank you all for your engagement there. Let's continue. The WISHAL opportunity covers only a handful, well, not only a handful, you'll see here in the next slide. Let me jump over here. Here we go. The WISHAL opportunity covers about 70 of the tribes in the state of California that are part of the pact. Kaylin is going to drop a link to our website for the WISHAL opportunity, where we outline all of the different tribes that are eligible for the WISHAL opportunity. So when you go to that link, you're going to find about 70 plus tribes of the over 100, and I believe it's over 100 different tribes in the state of California. A little bit over 70 of those tribes are eligible for the WISHAL opportunity. So be sure to go and look at that link. And on there, you'll see if you're an enrolled member of one of those tribes, you are then eligible for the WISHAL opportunity. If your tribe is not listed on that website, but your tribe is federally or state recognized, you would be eligible for different opportunities that we offer at the College Fund. Okay, so while you may not necessarily have to be enrolled in one of those tribes, if you are part of one of those tribes, you will be eligible for the WISHAL opportunity. So that's important to keep in mind. The application is the same for everybody, right? So we determine your eligibility for the WISHAL opportunity or one of our many other scholarship opportunities when you complete the application. The application is the vehicle through which you provide information to us about who you are And based on that, we draw your eligibility for the different scholarship opportunities that we have at the College Fund. So as I mentioned, there's over 70 tribes of the 109 recognized tribes in the state of California that are eligible. You can view the list of those tribes at collegefund.org/California. Kaylin should be dropping that link on the chat if she hasn't already. When you begin our application, I want you all to think about, you're going to encounter 3 reflection questions, and I want you to think about them very closely and very intentionally, because this is the place in your application where you can stand to earn the most points. The scholarship application that you submit to us goes to a team of scholarship reviewers, and they score your application. So they read over your responses and they assign them a score in the same way that an English paper would be rated, right? They have a rubric, and based on that rubric, they assign scores to your responses. When they are giving scores to your responses, they are looking for a couple of different things. First, they're looking that your responses contain unique stories and goals. So be sure to really leverage and mention who you are, how you came to be who you are, any challenges that you've experienced growing up, any dreams and aspirations that you want to pursue when you go to college, why going to college is important to you, and how you want to give back to your native nation. That piece is really important. As you're crafting your responses, please do take the time to answer the questions entirely and completely. Be sure to not veer off topic and answer the question at hand. Your responses should be written in a compelling way. So I encourage you to ask a teacher or a friend or a parent to proofread your responses before you submit your application. In your responses, please be sure to include descriptive language, be sure that your ideas are fluid, and be sure to talk about your dreams and your challenges and what makes you who you are today. And we're going to look into those questions here in just a second, but I just want to give you all kind of the framework through which we are looking and assessing your responses. So in the application, you're going to have to answer these 3 questions. First, we want you to tell us what challenges you've overcome to attend college. Be sure to go into as much detail as you feel comfortable sharing with us. Your answers are managed in a very confidential way, so we won't share them outside of the College Fund. So be mindful of any detail that you want to share. Next, I want you to think about any educational and career goals that you might have. What makes you want to go to college? What major do you want to study? How did you decide that that was your major that you wanted to pursue? After college, what career field do you want to go into? What made you want to go into that career field? And how will you tie your scholarship award and the impact that receiving funding from us is going to have on your educational and career goals? The last question that I'd like you to consider is how will you use your education to impact your native community or your native nation or Indian country? At the end of the day, we invest in students because we know students go back to their communities and they give back, right? Folks are getting trained to become teachers and lawyers and doctors and be employed in a variety in different fields to go back and give back in their own communities. So think about what is it that you want to contribute back to the community that has been a part of your life. Again, these 3 questions, you're going to have to answer them before you can hit the complete or the submit button in the application. And once again, your application will be scored. And this is the place where you can earn the most points in the application process. So I always encourage students to take their time writing their reflection responses. I also encourage you to write your responses in a Word document. That way you can email them to your teacher or someone that you trust to have them proofread it. Once the responses are good, you can copy and paste them into the application portal. But be sure to spend some time crafting strong application responses. That part is really, really important. In our website, we also offer application tips and FAQs. Kevin's going to be dropping a link to our tips and FAQs. I would encourage you all to go onto our website and explore these two links. Oftentimes, many of the questions that applicants have are addressed in these 2 pages. So some of the things that we highlight here is, how do I craft a good reflection response? How do I prove that I'm a descendant? Is my school eligible? All of those different kinds of questions, we address them in the FAQs and in the application tips. So I would encourage you to go on here before you begin your application journey so that you can be sure to understand what we're looking for in your application, how your application is going to be assessed and scored. Those 2 pieces are really important to keep in mind. So be sure to check out all of the resources that we offer on our website. If you choose to attend a tribal college, there are more scholarship opportunities available to you as a tribal college student. So the state of California is really unique because there are currently no tribal colleges in the state of California. But throughout the nation, there are 35 fully accredited institutions that are tribal colleges, and they offer degrees ranging from vocational to bachelor's to graduate students. Their class offerings are infused with traditional knowledge, and they tend to be far more affordable than your typical public school. Your typical 4-year. If you're in California, you're familiar with the UC schools and the CSU schools. These tribal colleges are much, much more affordable than those 2. And if you go to a tribal college, you complete our application, you are eligible for more scholarship awards or more scholarship programs than a non-tribal college student would be. So I'd like to highlight that opportunity. You can learn more about our tribal colleges on our website. Kellen should be dropping a link here in the chat soon to highlight the different tribal colleges that we partner with. Full Circle is the portfolio where all of our scholarship opportunities are housed. So one of those opportunities is the WISHAL opportunity. And you might recall earlier in the conversation, I talked about how the WISHAL opportunity is only available for students that are part of one of those 70 tribes of the 110 that are recognized in the state of California. If your tribe, if you are an enrolled member or a descendant of one of those tribes that is not listed on collegefund.org/California, so a tribe that is not eligible for WISHAL, we have other scholarship opportunities in the Full Circle portfolio that you may be eligible for. To be eligible, in general, you need to be a US citizen, you need to be an enrolled member or a descendant of any federal or state recognized tribe, you need to have a GPA of at least 2.0, and you need to be a full-time student. As long as you meet those eligibility criteria, those base criteria items, you would be eligible for other opportunities within the Full Circle Scholarship portfolio. Again, when you complete an application for us, you don't need to go through and apply to the different scholarship opportunities. You just need to submit one application. And with that, we gather all of the information that we need to match you to a scholarship program that you are eligible for. Okay, so really, when you're submitting our application, you are applying to over 100 different scholarship programs. So that's really neat. We don't make you go through hundreds of applications, just one application, and with that, you'll be considered for the different programs that you are eligible for. We want you to stay connected with us and to learn more about other engagement opportunities that the College Fund offers. And to do so, I'd love for you to go to collegefund.org/stay-connected. That way you can sign up for our monthly newsletters. We are not going to spam you trying to sell you things. We are not going to share your information with outside parties to try to sell you things. This monthly newsletter highlights different scholarship opportunities outside of the College Fund. And it's a great way to learn about other opportunities. I always encourage students to think about applying to multiple scholarship programs. The application process for scholarships at the College Fund and elsewhere is competitive. So it's very, very important that you don't just submit one scholarship application from one provider. You want to cast a wide network. This is very similar to applying for jobs, right? The more jobs that you apply for, the more likely you are to get a couple of different interviews and land a job. The scholarship process is very similar. So by signing up for our monthly newsletters, you can learn about different scholarship providers that are recruiting recipients and applicants. You can also find more resources to guide you through your transition from high school to college by learning about our Native Pathways resource book. You can go to collegefund.org/native pathways, and this book, there's a PDF version of it, or you can contact us and request a printed version of it if you like. But this book guides you through the different things that you need to consider as you think about moving to college. How are you going to apply? What is the application timeline and process for different schools? What is the financing process? How are you going to get financial aid? What is financial aid? How do you apply for financial aid? So all of those different aspects of moving away from home or staying with your area and going away or moving from high school to college, we talk about those different points in the Native Pathways guidebook. So I definitely encourage you guys to check that out. Once again, I want to encourage you guys to submit your application by May 31st. That part is really, really important. If any of you guys here on the webinar tonight are high school students, you should apply the spring semester your senior year. So if any of you are juniors or sophomores or freshmen, don't apply now. It is too early for you to apply. You want to apply the spring semester of your senior year. So that is really important, right? Because you're not going to be eligible for an award next year unless you're planning to go to college. So that part is really, really important. And once again, go to collegefund.org/California to find all the tribes that are eligible for the WISHAL opportunity. Or you can go to collegefund.org/scholarships to learn more about our general scholarship criteria and the application process. All right, and here we get to the best and my favorite part of these webinars. This is the Q&A. So this is where you actually get to take in your questions on Zoom here, and I get to address them for the entire audience. So I'd love for you guys to go to menti.com, and again, use that same code 6809-6840, and type your questions in there and submit them. They will appear on my screen. The entire audience is going to see them, and I'll be able to address them for everybody. Because odds are, if you're wondering, something about the application process, you won't be able to. Other folks in the audience will have that question as well, right? So please go on here and drop your questions. So I'll give you all a minute to get signed on back to menti.com. Again, the code is 6809-6840. So I'll give you all a minute to get signed on and start dropping your questions on here. And while we start getting, let's see why these questions are coming in like that. Interesting. Oh, there we go. There are those questions. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys a few more minutes for those questions to come in. Kellen, have you seen any questions that have come in on the chat that you haven't been able to address that you want me to address to the entire audience right now?
No, I haven't had any questions in the chat. Please feel free to also put questions there if you're able. And I just want to double check, are students able to see the links that I've been sharing? I just want to make sure that they're going to everyone.
That's a good question. So if you can please raise your hand on you participants, you guys, if you can raise your hand and let us know that you're seeing those links that we're dropping in the chat, that'd be great. All right, Natalie Smith, I see your hand, so thank you for that. So let's dive into some of these questions, yeah? So I think I'm going to start working my way down left to right, and we're going to start going down the list here as they come up. So the first question is it true that Indian students can get free tuition at California state colleges? So over the last year or two, there have been different initiatives going through the UC system and the CSU system to offer students, American Indian students, free tuition. I am not 100% sure regarding the current state of those initiatives. So I would encourage you to call the financial aid office at the college that you want to attend to understand if that initiative has passed and if you are eligible for it. But I want you to remember and keep this in mind. The cost of tuition is only a part of going to college and college attendance. In addition to tuition, you have to pay for room and board, books and supplies, transportation, miscellaneous, right? So tuition is just the cost of going to class, right? But you have to think about where you're going to eat, where are you going to live, what are you going to eat, how are you going to get around? All of those different things are not going to be covered, and financial aid and scholarships can kick in and help with those expenses. So even if you are eligible to receive tuition from the state of California at one of their public schools, I would still encourage you to complete a financial aid application and apply for scholarships because those funds are going to help you meet those other expenses beyond tuition. The next question is, how do I know if my application has been received, accepted, or denied? That is a great question. So on a periodic basis, we email students letting them know that we have received their application. When you submit the application on the portal updates, and it also lets you know that we have received it. But on a bi-weekly basis, we email students letting them know that we have received their application. Now, if you submit your application by May 31st, you are going to receive an award decision email from us by July 31st. So you're going to receive an email letting you know if you were a selected recipient or if you were not. The key thing here that I want you to keep in mind is that you need to submit your application by May 31st. That deadline is very, very, very important. The next question is, do I get to use my spring semester grades for the scholarships? That's a really good question. Another thing that you'll have to report in your application is your cumulative GPA. So a cumulative GPA is an accumulation of all of your GPAs, all of the semester GPAs averaged out, right? So your spring semester right now is not, you don't have a GPA for the spring semester yet because the spring semester is still undergoing and the grades for the spring semester have not been finalized. So instead, you will have to provide your cumulative GPA, and you will also have to provide an unofficial copy of your transcript. You can get that from the office of the registrar at your college or your high school. And an unofficial copy is just fine. Don't request an official copy because that is going to cost you money and it takes time. An unofficial copy is just fine. The next question is, are you still eligible even if you are already a college student? Absolutely, yes. We would love for you to apply if you are a current college student. When I was in college, I was one of those folks that thought they missed the train by not applying for scholarships when I was in high school. And now that I am working as a scholarship provider, I can tell you that most scholarship providers out there take applications from current college students. We do that here at the College Fund. And we do not give a preference to folks coming out of high school or in college. So whether you are in one of those two pools of students, you stand the same chances to being considered. So that's really important. So yes, even if you're a current college student, I would love for you to apply as long as you expect to be enrolled full-time in the upcoming fall semester and the spring thereafter. If this is your last year and you're graduating, you're in college right now and you are graduating this spring semester, unfortunately, and you don't plan to move on to a graduate degree, so this is your last semester graduating and you plan for the summer and the fall is to get a job and continue with life, then unfortunately, you don't need to apply for a scholarship because right now I'm taking applications for the upcoming academic year? That's a really good question. The next question is, what careers have the best outlook in California for Native Americans? Oh, that's a really good question. So we have students in California that are pursuing all kinds of careers, and the job market is different at different points in time for different career fields. But I know we have students who are very successful in California pursuing a range of fields, ranging from humanities to STEM, IT. So I think this is a really good conversation for you to engage your guidance counselor with, so that you can understand what is going to be meaningful and impactful to you, right? I think if I were to go back in time and pursue a career, I think if I could go back in time and talk to a 16-year-old version of me, I would want to tell them to think about a career from the perspective of meaning and fulfillment. And there's practical aspects of that as well. Of course, you want to think about what your earning potential is going to be. So you want to merge the two. And your guidance counselor at your college or high school can help you understand what opportunities are available to you, given your different interests and your skills. So the next question is, I am enrolled in the fall 2023 to serve my undergrad at Cal Poly Humboldt, pursuing their BSW. Am I still eligible? Yes, and shout out to the Cal Poly Humboldt folks. I am a proud Cal Poly Humboldt alum. I went there straight out of high school when I was 18, and I graduated in 2016. So I love Humboldt. I think you're gonna love the area. I hope you like the rain, because it rains quite a bit, but it's a beautiful environment. So yes, if you plan to be enrolled in the fall of 2023 to start your undergrad, you are definitely eligible. So go to that website that I keep mentioning, collegefund.org/scholarships, to understand the application experience and to access the application portal. And be sure to complete the application by May 31st. That part is really, really important. Okay, May 31st, that's the key deadline. All right, the next question is the first scholarship mentioned, which is the Wishal opportunity. Kaylin, it looks like folks might not have gotten the link for Wishal. Can you please try again to drop it in the chat? So that link, if folks in the audience, if you want to open a new tab on your browser, that link is collegefund.org/California. collegefund.org/California. When you go on there, you're going to find the different tribes that are eligible for the Wishal opportunity. You don't need to have California residency to be eligible for the Wishal opportunity. So residency just means being a resident of the state of California. What you do need to have to be eligible for the Wishal opportunity is to be an enrolled tribal member in one of those tribes that we list on our website. And again, that is collegefund.org/California. Okay. The funding available for grad school, the funding available for other programs outside of Wishal varies. The Full Circle portfolio has over 100 different scholarship programs or scholarship opportunities. And in there, we have scholarship programs that are funded by corporations and individual donors. And so every program has a different award amount. On average, students that don't receive the Wishal opportunity but get a different program, on average, they receive around $3,000 to $3,500 of free money to go to school for the academic year. The next question is there a minimum amount of credits per semester that you must enroll to be awarded any or all scholarships? That is a really good question. And the answer to that is yes. You need to be enrolled full-time. So if you are an undergraduate student, full-time is 12 credits per semester. So that's really important because your eligibility definitely depends on you being enrolled full-time, 12 credits. The next question is, do I have to have the school or the college identified that I will be attending in the fall before the application due date of May 31st? Great question. So I presume that the person that posted this question is a high school student who's considering going to a couple of different schools And most folks have their top 1 or 2, and then you've got your backups, your plans B and C, right? So people are not sure, and then you don't get your admissions offer from schools oftentimes until May 15th, right? So when you complete the application, you don't have to have that school identified or finalized, because likely you may not know yet, right? But in your application, I want you to list the school that is your top choice in the application, right? After you submit the application, if you decide that you are not going to attend the school that you listed in the application, send us an email and we will update the school on file for you. After you submit the application, you cannot go back and make edits to it. So you have to email us for us to update it, okay? But please go ahead and submit the application now before May 31st, even if you're not 100% sure what school you're going to attend. List your top school, your top choice, and then email us. You can reach us for any kind of support. You can email us at scholarships@collegefund.org. scholarships@collegefund.org. Of course, you can also find our contact information at our main page, collegefund.org/scholarships. Oh, here's a question. So if your tribe is not listed, is not on the list, you shouldn't apply. So the answer to that is, if your tribe is not listed in the link collegefund.org/California, that means that you wouldn't be eligible for the We Shall opportunity. But if your tribe is federally or state recognized, you should apply, because we have other scholarship opportunities that you are eligible for. You just are not eligible for the We Shall opportunity. So if your tribe is not listed when you go to collegefund.org/California, but your tribe is federally or state recognized, go on and apply. The deadline is to say May 31st, and you'll hear from us by July 31st, letting you know if you were a selected recipient. The next question is asking me to reclarify if high school students can request a high school transcript right now in order to apply before the May deadline. Yes, if you are a high school student right now, you should be able to go to the office of the registrar and request a copy, an unofficial copy of your transcript. That unofficial copy of the transcript is now going to have your final grades for the spring semester. We know that, we understand that, because the semester is currently happening, but it's going to have all of your grades up until the end of the fall semester of last year. So you should be able to very easily go on there, go to the office of the registrar and request a copy. If they give you a printed copy, you have to scan it, because we will take a virtual copy of that file. We won't be able to take the paper copy of your transcript. So it looks like I've covered all the questions that have come in so far. Let me ask Kaylin if she's seen any of the questions that have come up on the chat that I haven't been able to address, or perhaps I missed something that you think it's important for folks in the audience here today to be aware of.
No questions have come in through the chat.
So thank you. From the questions that we typically receive from applicants, do you think, is there something that I have missed so far that you want to mention to the audience today?
That's a great question, Juan. Sometimes we get questions. It sounds like we've got a couple high schoolers in the audience, which is great. Welcome, guys. Sometimes we get questions from high schoolers that are dual enrolled. So they're in high school and they're also taking college classes. And what we normally, and they, sometimes they ask, can I be eligible for the scholarship when I'm technically taking college courses? Unfortunately, we do need you to wait until you're enrolled full-time in college and have graduated high school. So that's a question we get sometimes that hasn't been covered. I can't think of anything else. I feel like you've covered most of the criteria really thoroughly. Students, anybody else on the call have more questions for Juan?
Yeah, if you guys have any more questions, please go to menti.com and use that code. Drop your questions on here so the entire audience can see them and I can address them for everybody. Something that just came to mind that often comes up during these conversations is the difference between a scholarship and financial aid. Are they the same thing? Are they different? Do I need to apply to both? What's going on? What's the difference? So financial aid refers to the aid that you get from the federal, the state government, one of those two or both, or the institution. And your financial aid eligibility is often determined based on your FAFSA, the application, the free application for federal financial aid, the FAFSA. It is really, really important that you always submit the FAFSA every year. If you don't, you will not be considered for financial aid. So types of financial aid that you may be familiar with include the Pell Grant, the Cal Grant in California, work study, and subsidized and unsubsidized loans. So when you submit the FAFSA, in the FAFSA, you list all of the schools that you are applying and considering attending. In May, when you get your acceptance letter to the different schools that you applied to, you are also going to receive a financial aid package. Okay, so that's really important for you to keep in mind, because the award package is going to tell you coming to the school for 1 year is going to cost you this much, say $20,000 for the year, and we're going to award you, say, maybe $15,000 in financial aid. And that financial aid could be comprised of the Pell Grant, the Cal Grant, work study, and maybe a loan. So all of that makes up $15,000. So there's going to be a gap of $5,000 that financial aid is not going to cover. That is where scholarships can help. Scholarships oftentimes are not, you don't apply for scholarships by completing the FAFSA, but some scholarships require that you complete the FAFSA when you are submitting an application. Some, not all. Every scholarship is different. Our scholarships at the College Fund are not need-based. We are merit-based. That means that we are going to consider you for our application, even if you did not file the FAFSA, or even if your FAFSA determines that you don't have eligibility for financial aid. We are merit-based. So that means that as long as you meet our base eligibility criteria, which is you have at least a 2.0 GPA, you are an enrolled member or a descendant of a federally or a state recognized tribe, and you are going to a accredited not-for-profit school, we're going to consider you. And because we're merit-based, we're going to determine your eligibility for our awards based on those three things and based on the score of your application. So that's why it's really important to take your time and craft really strong reflection questions. Because when we are awarding, we look at the highest score applicants and we give those folks a scholarship. So it is a competitive process. That's why it's a merit-based award, not a need-based award. Now, the neat thing that can happen to most students is that they receive financial aid and scholarships, and those two stack, right? So let's say that it costed you $20,000 to attend Humboldt State or Cal Poly Humboldt, $20,000 for the year, and with the with your FAFSA application, Humboldt offered you $12,000 of financial aid, Pell Grant, Cal Grant, and work study, right? $12,000. That means that you have $8,000 that you still need to come up with. And then you receive an award from the College Fund for $5,000. So that shortens the gap from $8,000 to only $3,000, right? And then you get another scholarship from a different provider. If you haven't heard of ACES or COBEL or Native Forward, ACES, COBEL, Native Forward, those are three other nonprofit organizations that also provide scholarships to American Indian students. Check them out. We are independent from each other. We are sister organizations, so we collaborate, but we're independent. So when you apply with us, you're not applying with them. You have to go to the website and apply directly with them. But you can also receive other scholarships from them. So all of the scholarships that you receive, annual and financial aid stack. To me, the cost of attendance in this example is $20,000, and that's how you go to school for free, right? It's by stacking your financial aid and your scholarships. But keep in mind, always follow the FAFSA, because some scholarships are going to require that you provide FAFSA information. At the College Fund, we don't, but other scholarship providers are different. So that's really important to keep in mind. Okay, we're getting here close to the end of the hour. I'm going to give you one last chance to add any questions that you might have on the chat. Oh, and the chat is disabled. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for letting me know the chat is disabled. Okay, let's see if we can figure out a way here to take you to the links that I keep referring to. Let's see, let me try something. Okay, so I'm going to close you guys out by giving you a quick tour of our website, and then we'll close it out with that. All right, so give me a moment. Okay, so this is we've been referring you guys to two links that we just realized that the chat was disabled, so our apologies for that. But thank you for mentioning that. I really appreciate it. So the first link that I want to take you to is collegefund.org/scholarships. And on here, you can find the different opportunities that we have for students. And really, this is the application process. This is what you want to understand before you apply. So you can come to collegefund.org/students/scholarships. Or if you go to collegefund.org, on the top right, go to for students and then select scholarships on the dropdown. We highlight eligibility requirements, documentation needed to apply. This video here on the right-hand side highlights the application experience or the application process. Be sure to watch this so you understand how to work the application portal. And then by clicking on this Apply Now button, this will redirect you to the application portal where you'll be prompted to make an account and submit your application that way. So this is link number one. Link number two for the Vishal opportunity is collegefund.org/California. That takes you here. And so when you get a minute, check that out. And if your tribe is listed here on this page, you are then eligible for the Vishal opportunity. If your tribe is not listed, but you're still enrolled in a federally recognized tribe, or you're a descendant of someone enrolled in one of those tribes, you're still eligible for the different opportunities that we offer. It just won't be Vishal, but you're going to be eligible for the different programs that we offer. Same here, if you click on apply, this is going to take you to the application portal where you can make an account and submit your application. So this is really handy to know if you are eligible for the Vishal opportunity. collegefund.org/students/scholarships. This is really good to understand the application process itself. All right. All right. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and finish the webinar here by saying thank you all so much for joining us this evening. I hope that you found today's presentation helpful. And as you're starting your application process or you're checking out our website, if you have any questions about eligibility, how to apply, or any questions at all, and you want to connect with our team, come on back to our website. There we go. And you can contact us via email, or you can give us a call. And Kaylin picks up the phone most of the time. I also pick up the phone a lot of the time. So give us a call if you need any help. And we're more than happy to connect with you over the phone or via email and help you with any questions that you have. But once again, thank you all so much for being here tonight, and have a great afternoon. We hope to see an application from you soon. Take care.